This podcast contains potentially adult language, adult themes, definitely drinking, and possibly sexual context. Listener discretion is advised.
Welcome to Drinking with Authors, the literary briefs edition, where we're all wearing just underwear.
No, don't tell them that. My face won't stop being red now. It's going to be red as her wine.
I've been talking about us getting an underwear sponsor for this particular version of the podcast for some time. So if you sew underwear and you want me to stand up and show which pair I'm wearing, please feel free to reach out.
Totally will.
So, first of all, make sure you like and subscribe. It'll help you when we do get the underwear sponsor to share this with. Just kidding. I do want to thank our listeners. And just a reminder that if you have an author you would like us to interview or have anything you'd like to tell us, please reach out to drinkingwithauthors@gmail.com. And with that, I am your host, Erica Lance. My co-host today is Valerie Willis, so we'll be interrupted many, many times during this.
Erica, you're bouncing. There we go.
I'm so excited. It's the excitement.
Yeah.
I was getting motion sickness.
Okay, I'm moving on. Anyway, our guest today is Rhea Werner. Woo!
Woo!
I'm
Okay.
moving for myself.
Yes, you should look. I think everyone
should.
should for themselves. Okay, let's talk about what we're drinking. So I'm on my third glass, not gonna lie. I was like, I'm gonna have one and then these other things, which I'm gonna share. I've been drinking a lot. Okay, Whiskey Road, which is from Skunk Brothers Spirits, who is our sponsor today. This is the Founders Club Straight Bourbon Whiskey. Batch 1, Barrel 1, Bottle 97. Thank you guys very much. You can find all of their amazing stuff at skunkbrotherspirits.com. Use coupon code DWA10. You will get a 10% off. And you will get to try many amazing things. Valerie, with the previous stomach flu, what are you not drinking today?
Not drinking alcohol, but I'm drinking New England's Southern Pecan coffee with Southern Pecan creamer. I'm pecaning it out because pecan.
Because you pecan.
Because
I feel like this is like the meow from Super Troopers, and we just need to say pecan as many times as we can during this podcast. That'd be fucking amazing. Pecan. Okay, Sarah Pecan, what are you drinking, Pecan?
Pecan. I am drinking the J-Lore pecan wine. No, it's red. And it is very lovely. I'm half a bottle in, so don't judge me. And it's lovely.
I can't judge you because the other thing I forgot to mention, I was also drinking one of these. It's fine. It's Drinking with Authors, and I'm in the comfort of my own home. Is Krabby's original alcoholic ginger beer. Which
That actually sounds really good.
I was gonna mix them together, and then I was like, if I was Skunk Brothers Spirits, I'd punch me in the fucking face for doing that. So instead, we're doing both like this because it's
Beautiful.
Yes, I'm very proud of myself right now. I can't walk, but I'm proud. It's fine.
You should be. Good.
Sarah, your riveting rapid fire questions. Are you ready?
I'm so ready.
Are you?
I
What
say
is
that.
your favorite book of all time?
Oh my gosh, I should have thought of this ahead of time. My favorite book of all time is, I'm going to go with one of my favorites from my childhood, which is Owl in Love. It was really the first like shapeshifter book I ever read. And I read it when I was like 12 or something like that. And it just really changed my brain chemistry. And now I love paranormal romance. It's good. It's real good. It's like YA shapeshifter before like YA really became big into the like urban fantasy paranormal stuff.
I like it. What is a book that is your least favorite book that you?
I just read a book. I mean, no disrespect to the author. I realized that like not every book is for every reader. This is just a book that was not for me. It was a book called Suicide Forest, and I don't remember the author's name, but it takes place in the Suicide Forest in Japan. And it was horror, and I was trying to read a full year of horror books. This was my least favorite. There was just a lot of cultural appropriation. And I was just really, I just kind of read the whole thing. What?
Is the author Japanese?
No, the author was a white dude, and I cannot recommend it. And I read it just because I was like, how is this going to end? And so I finished it, and then I really regretted finishing it. Again, no offense to the author. This was just not my cup of tea.
No, and it doesn't have to be. Do you write reviews?
I used to, and then I realized that I didn't want to be the kind of person like, okay, so I will leave starred reviews. I'll leave like a 5-star review if I love a book. But I feel kind of weird judging other people's work. And that's just like a personal hang up for me.
No, it
You
makes sense.
don't like the book. Will you do not finish most of the time, or do you always force yourself to finish?
That has changed over the years as I have grown as a reader. And I used to be I must finish every book I read completionist. And now I'm like, there are too many good books in the world for me to waste time on books that are just not the right fit for me. So I am very comfortable do not finishing.
Even for that. I tell people that all the time. Why are you wasting your time? Like,
there's so many books I do want to read.
To me, every author and every person has a different, like, where they get to. If I'm not invested about 6 pages into that book, it's terrible. I won't go beyond that. Like, I will in Barnes and Noble or any bookstore, or, I will start reading the book. And if I'm not, like, the first couple of pages, something's not grabbing me, I'm done.
And it's not
a slow start and hope you get me halfway through, because I am not investing any of that time.
There have been plenty of books that have been like the rave, and I open it and I'm like, no, I can't. And it's not necessarily a reflection of the writing or the story. Sometimes it's just I'm not. And sometimes I'm just not feeling that genre that day.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Yeah.
It's like picking on an outfit. It's like, what do I feel like today? Yesterday I felt like goth. Today I feel like, whatever this is.
And I think that's important that you know, and it's okay to not like a book. It's okay to not like a book. It's so funny. This made me think of this. I used to be on Goodreads, like, give me a free copy, I'll review your book. I stopped doing that.
Yeah.
I had to stop and I wrote a review for every single book somebody gave me. The problem was I got like 3 books in a row that were not good. That had issues with them. And I was like, this sucks because I have to write a review. It's not going to be a good review. And it's not because I wasn't into the genre. It was because of the writing or the editing or whatever. And I'm like, this is a great way to get work out. But the problem is it's a crapshoot. And if you're like, you have no choice, you have to write a review. Well, what if it's not good? Like a lot of people say they only write reviews if they're going to do 4 or 5 stars. Totally great if you're not going to, but if you're like, you have to write a review if you get this, you might get some reviews you don't actually like. Okay. What is your favorite book to movie or TV show?
Oh, favorite book to movie or TV show. This is going to be, okay. I'm so disappointed all the time, constantly disappointed by adaptations. The one adaptation, there's 2 adaptations that did not disappoint me. The first one was Fight Club. I thought that it was a very good adaptation. Yeah. Because the book is okay, but the movie just takes it a step further. And then the other one is the Lord of the Rings series. I had a lot of trouble reading the Lord of the Rings books. And for whatever reason, they did enough shifting in the adaptation of the TV show that I was able to connect with and understand it. And I really appreciated that. But generally, I always think the book is better than the movie.
Yeah, no, I agree with you 100%. But somebody said something to me.
Ooh.
One of our co-hosts, Chelsea Rice, Sierra Rice, and she said you should treat every adaptation as if it's fan fiction.
Oh, that's so good, though.
Smart.
And it's different. So there are some that I absolutely, and anybody who listens to this podcast knows,
like outrage
that I fucking hate. But I will say, like Fight Club, that hasn't been brought up before. Reading the book goes way more into the political and governmental aspects of that story, which ironically the Hunger Games does too. If you read the books, goes into the political and the governmental aspects of that story. And that's not what the movie would have been. So I love the way they did Fight Club, but I also think whoever did that adaptation, whoever did the screenplay for it, whose name I don't know right now, so sorry, I'm not giving you credit, And the actors that they got for that, all of them, like, once you understand that story and you go back and rewatch it for Helen Bonham Carter's fucking, like, you gotta love that woman, because she literally is like having the person she is having the affair with going like, Tyler's not here. Can you imagine having a conversation with the person you're with and they're like, no, that person's not here anymore? Like,
Yeah, no.
Brilliant. But I think a lot of it has to do with how it's written. And it's funny because I've talked to people, as you are a screenplay, that sort of thing writer. What I found out, and I want to say this was Jonathan Mayberry who said this. We dropped his name twice in these podcasts, but I think he's the one that told me that a lot of times what will happen is somebody will read the blurb on the back of the fucking book and decide that they need the book. So maybe some low level person actually read the book, but they're not the one adapting it to screen. And the person doesn't actually read the entire book or the book series to adapt it. So you end up with things like, Silver Linings Playbook, which is one of the ones you could get me fucking started. And I want to murder the fucking person who wrote the screenplay, because they had a bunch of great actors and they totally ruined the fucking story. But I think that if you look at it like fan fiction, it does a lot better for it, as long as it's not horribly destroying the story, because you can't write everything that's in a book into a screenplay or a TV show. You just can't.
You have to pick what's right for that medium.
Yeah.
Translate unless you read the entire part of it. Okay.
All right. Quick question.
Yeah.
As a reader, what is your pet peeve? What is something about the prose that will just, you're like, nope, not doing it, whether it's a certain trope or for Mark Muncy, it was alabaster skin. He's like, no, do not describe it this way. So what is something that just like irks you as a reader?
It really irks me when, and maybe this is like a branding thing, but I've noticed that some authors have like little catchphrases that they use in every one of their books. Who is it that I was just reading someone who, like, they always like bark their shin on the bed, or they barked their shin on something, like barked as a point of pain. And it's like, and I noticed that in every single one of their books, because I was reading a whole series and I was like, stop, please. It worked once, but like now that it's hammered in, Robert Jordan, I remember reading the Wheel of Time series when I was in college, and like all the female characters crossed their arms specifically under their breasts. And he made a point of saying that like multiple times. And it's like, where else are they going to cross their arms, my guy? So when things get like, when you can tell that the author is like, has like a fixation on something and it gets a little uncomfortable, or yeah.
You know what? I think part of that comes to, I'm just going to say this, editing and the editor pointing out and allowing it. We talk about this because through manuscripts, I think all of us have things that we do like that are almost unconscious the way we do it. A lot of people have gritting their teeth or winking or, pursing their lips or shrugging or nodding, shrugging and nodding. There's a lot of
changes every story I write. I managed to clear out the last one thanks to the editor, but I've only developed a new, like, what is a bad habit that you have as a writer that you always have to like go back and look for every time, because you're going to do it without fail?
Monologuing, unrealistic monologuing. Because I imagine every character with this like rich inner monologue, and then I put that monologue out and it's like, okay, Sarah, something's going to happen between minute 3 and minute 27. Like nobody's going to let them monologue this long. And so I have to be really careful because like when I write, I'm essentially, for me, writing is it's personal for every writer, but it's also kind of autobiographical, and I'm discovering things about myself and the world as I'm writing. And it's really hard to stop sometimes. And so that is something I definitely look out for is monologuing.
So basically you're a villain.
I'm a villain without a cape. So I'm a safe villain. I get sucked into a jet engine.
What is something that you feel that you do really well? in your writing?
Something that I think I do really well is make characters that you love. I like this. This is important to me, is making characters that you really actually grow to love. I think it makes for an addictive story. I think it makes for readers who are just in love with your work as a whole. So yeah, that's something I think I'm good at, and I've gotten fan art and fan fiction and all sorts of really beautiful things that show that people love my characters as much as I do, and that's just so meaningful.
Very cool. So if you could be any supernatural creature, what would you be and why?
Ooh, like from the show Supernatural specifically, or just any supernatural?
Okay. Any supernatural creature.
I would love to be.
Catalog.
Oh, okay. Get into the card catalog. I would love to be a water nymph. Because I could just
specific. Why is that?
I could just swim all day and just enjoy my life and like not have anyone annoy me with anything.
Mermaid. So why water nymph?
Well, I feel like mermaids get very specific types of stories. So like mermaid stories are all, well, the ones that I've read, I shouldn't generalize. I've read a lot of stories where the mermaid has to have some kind of transformation outside of themselves. And I didn't love that. And I feel like as a water nymph, you're allowed, because I haven't read any water nymph literature because I don't know if it exists, but I feel like
write that down.
I can make
water nymph literature. Somebody write that for me and send it to me. I'll buy your book.
Odin is one of the oldest water nymph stories.
Oh.
You should. It's a very old piece.
Okay, I need to check this out. But I feel like you're allowed to just like be a water nymph. Like you're just allowed to exist, and you don't need to like worry about, am I a human or am I a marine animal? Like you're just allowed to be yourself and explore your story within that. So
I like that. If you could be any lead character, but you have to live their life, who would that be?
Oh my gosh, I was just reading. Oh my gosh, this is going to drive me insane. So I have ADHD, so I love books when I'm reading them, and then the second I put them down, I immediately forget them forever. Okay. I'm going to say this because it's just the first thing that came to mind. Have you read the Agatha Raisin books?
No.
Okay, they're cozy mysteries. They're British by MC Beaton, and they are about a 60-something marketing professional who is retired and moved to the Cotswolds in England. And I love that. So I saw a lot of parallels between myself and Agatha Raisin, having been in marketing forever, and really loving an older female protagonist, which you don't see a whole lot of. And I don't know, she just has a very interesting life, and she gets to solve murders, which is like really cool.
That is awesome. Well, who would your sidekick be?
Oh man, probably Robin.
Who?
Sorry, I just immediately thought of Robin from Batman. And I like the idea of Agatha Raisin teaming up.
So that's fine.
I don't know, probably yeah, probably one of like the fun hunks that you read about. I really liked Clay from Bitten, and I think that would be a hilarious winter summer romance.
There you go.
So we'll just mix all the genres together in a big gross soup.
I'm a big fan of mixing all the genres.
Yeah, like what I always told people, like my favorite fan fiction mashup is Buffy the Vampire Slayer with Dean from Supernatural. I'm like,
oh heck,
yes!
I hadn't even thought of that.
There's a whole go. There's
just because we were at the American Libraries Association conference a couple of weeks ago, and they have Spike's story, which brought so much joy to me that I got a copy of the prequel Spike story from Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
I love. Okay. I was just reading A Court of Thorns and Roses for the first time. I know it's like super hyped, all that stuff. And it felt to me like Angel and Spike.
I haven't read it. Now I'm going to read it because people keep bringing it up to me.
Yeah.
And that will be the only reason I read that story.
Yeah.
It's
an ode.
It's very Angel and Spike. It's very like, I cannot imagine the characters as anyone else. It's Angel and Spike, and like that's it. Oh, speaking of my pet peeves from earlier, Insta love. It bothers me. I want people to earn it.
They
I
gotta
want that
fight for
relationship
it.
to be earned.
You know what's interesting is I love the idea of love at first sight. Hear me out. This is going to go
Okay.
on a tangent.
Okay.
I love the idea of love at first sight because I personally believe in whatever spiritual realm or religious realm you believe that I personally believe in reincarnation. So let me just go there, that we can meet people that we have known before. Like I firmly believe it. I'm not saying what capacity we've known them before, but there you can be in a room with almost no people, or you can, or a room, with 100 people and have no connection, or you can find somebody that you feel like you've literally known forever. Right?
Yes. I have had that
weird.
experience. Mhm.
Yeah. And I'm not saying it's every person you meet, but I've genuinely met people that I feel like somehow like the string between
That's
us
how
was
we
severed.
fell
and I
in
knew
love
that-
with me.
Oh my
That's
God,
perfect.
Valerie. Can this not be about you for a moment as I go on my tangent? It's true, but could it not be about you for one fucking moment? Anyway, so when people write a true love story that has that moment, but then goes through who they are now, and the difficulties of dealing with what you thought your perception was at this moment, but then you kind of get into, those stories I actually love. When you have the Romeo and Juliet kind of stories, I just go, this is not a real thing. Fucking 6 people died over 3 days. Like that's Romeo and Juliet. So
It's not a romance, it's a tragedy. It's not.
But I think if somebody can write an instant connection story where there's emotion, deep emotion there, and you go, okay, yes, I've known this person before. Somehow I've known this person before because they fit a puzzle piece back into your life. This is what happens.
Appreciate that. I appreciate that because that speaks to, you can do any trope and you can do it well and you can make it work. What I don't like is when it's not done well.
No, and it's true. And there are some stories like, where I forget books is when it's the repeated trope. Like for me, there are books that I love. Like right now I'm in the middle of finishing. By the way, my fangirl moment involves this human being.
Dan. I
don't know this author. Do I need to add this immediately?
Oh my God.
He wrote a book called I Am Not a Serial Killer. And it's a young adult horror novel about a guy who literally knows he's a sociopath and the rules he sets for himself. But there's monsters and stuff like that. Fucking brilliant. And I met him at Dragon Con many, many moons ago, bought this book, fell in love with the author there. Not him as a person. He's got a wonderful wife and I love him and everything.
He DMs our Lord of the Rings campaign.
That we do online. But
this is amazing.
Reading this story is fucking amazing.
The Hollow City.
Horror novel. But there are books that I read totally impact me. There are other books that I read just for like, I want to relax. I want to have like sort of the dessert kind of books where I don't remember every single book because they have similar tropes and similar characterizations and stuff. Not that I don't enjoy them, but like I kind of remember some little things from them, but I couldn't tell you all about the characters and stuff like that in them. For instance, I read Gina Showalter is one of my favorite authors for this. I love Gina Showalter. I have some fine books that friends have bought me from her. She sent me a book that says Never Stop Writing and stuff. I love this woman. I cannot wait to meet her in person. But she writes this hometown romance called The Strawberry Field. It's not called Strawberry Fields. It's called something else. But it's set in this town, Strawberry Fields. And they're sisters and friends, and there are 3-4 billionaire boys that run a gaming company, and they're the main dudes. And that's what I remember from this thing. There are little things I remember, but I don't remember the whole thing because they're very similarly written very well. I love you, Gina. But
Your feel-good reads.
Yeah.
It's just like Hallmark. Like we know how Hallmark's going to end. We know every plot line and bounce because it's formula writing at its best. But there's that promise that we know this is going to have a happy ending. And that's the same with any romance. If you're labeling your book romance, you have to have a feel-good moment You have to have a happily ever after, happy for now.
Makes
And
it
happy
safe.
for now usually comes in when you start mixing genres. So when you have your
Mm.
fantasy romance, your sci-fi romance, your paranormal romance, we could do happy for nows because there's impending doom and supernatural things at work. And you know, that's the love and lust of those things. But it's what's your feel good read?
Ooh, me personally?
Yeah.
Do you okay? I mean, I was about to ask, do you remember these books? But the author has since passed away. But Elizabeth Peters, aka Barbara Michaels, aka something else. She has a bunch of pen names. She wrote these. I guess I could call them cozy mysteries. They take place in the early 1900s in Egypt, and it's about a female archaeologist who is like, it's like hindsight feminism. So it's like somebody from now writing about like, oh, if I was a woman in this time, I would have worn pantaloons instead of a dress everywhere. But it's a really comforting read. They're safe, they're cozy. They're probably problematic. If I went back and read them now, they would probably be problematic in some way. But I just really I bought them all. And somebody who like grew up really poor and like very limited cash to spend, like I invested a lot of money in buying these books from a bookstore. And I just like to keep them around on my shelf and look at them and just feel happy and safe.
So from somebody with a similar background, mine are the Xanth series by Pierce Anthony.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Those were the ones, the first book I ever bought of his was called The Veil of the Vole. It was not the first book in the series.
Okay, I was gonna say I don't know that one. Okay.
Yeah, no, it was book 4. Pierce Anthony, that was an escapism for me when I
Yes.
was younger. Any of those, for me, it was high fantasy books because and like when the Forgotten Realms books by Ed Greenwood and stuff first came out, like I love all of those books. Like and Azure Bonds is one of my favorite ones. I've been a D&D nerd since before it was cool to be a fucking D&D nerd, because now it's
You're an OG.
now it's cool. Gamers and nerds are cool, but I always tell people, I'm like, listen, I'm part of the OG when it wasn't cool, and there was, you know,
It was hard.
we put out an anthology called Teen Angst. Our second one's coming out. And I put in the first one, like I was into D&D when people thought it was like satanic, and like, yeah, I was like, whatever. But for me, it was always those books. And I remember buying them because I did a lot of library. I did not have a lot of money growing up. But when I bought those books, they were like treasured fucking books that I had because, you know, you managed to scrape up whatever babysitting, whatever money to buy those books.
And they were treasures. Oh, the other one was that before they redid everything, some of the original Star Wars, I guess they were canonical books. The Courtship of Princess Leia, the Truce at Bakura, like some of the Jedi Academy, like some of those earlier Star Wars books.
They had twins instead of just Kylo Ren.
I'm trying to remember Jaden and someone else. Jason.
Take Rey and make her the twin. I was so fucking hoping they would take Rey and make her the twin. I know they weren't going original canon. Like there was that part of my logical brain that's like, they're not going original canon. But I was like,
but
please, dear God, fucking make this the twin. Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That would have made me very fucking. So one of my little things, I was at the premiere of Star Wars at the Chinese Man Theater in LA. I was like 3 or 4 years old. I had a little ladybug dress.
Oh my gosh, I love this.
What people don't realize about that is all of the fucking cast was there in Hollywood at the Chinese Man Theater because nobody understood what the fuck this movie was. There was a lot of people there, but not really, because everybody was like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
Like nobody got it. It was not an instantaneous. Yeah. Anyway, if you ever want to watch a great documentary, The People versus George Lucas, in case you have the anger that I have about episodes 1, 2, and 3, have you watched The People versus George Lucas?
No, but I've seen the Red Letter Media kind of takedown. I don't know if you've seen that at all of the prequels.
Watch The People versus
Okay.
George Lucas.
It's good. Okay.
It's cathartic. It will get rid of some of the rage.
Will it heal me? Okay.
Yeah, it will heal some of the wounds.
Okay.
Because fucking
I need that healing.
Yeah, I do. I feel like we're twinsies.
Uh-huh.
Yes, we're twinsies. Okay.
Please heal me. Yes.
Yes. Val, do you have a question that you want to ask as you're sitting there finally quiet? I don't know what the fuck's wrong with you.
I ran out of coffee.
You're out of fuel.
I'm out of fuel. I'm out of fuel.
Do you need
I'm
some more
winding
pecan
down.
coffee?
It's getting late, big guy. The sun's going down. I feel like
It's 5 p.m. and Socky's a fucking weirdo. This is why we can't have nice things.
Well, okay, I got it. Do
Okay.
you have like a writing ritual? Like I'm a weirdo. I have to either have coffee and some sort of snackums, or if it's in the evening, because I either write like early on or late at night. It's a Slim Jim chocolate milk and Doritos. I don't know why. And then I've got to have
what Valerie does is healthy and or recommended for her.
There's nothing healthy about my lifestyle.
The Slim Jim method. I like
Yeah, no,
that.
she'll literally be sitting there. I'm like, what are you eating? She's like, I have chocolate milk and Slim Jims. I'm like, how are you putting this in your mouth at the same time?
No, ew, no. I have
Yeah,
chocolate
no.
and Slim Jims. Not.
That's amazing. I do have a ritual. I feel like we were talking about this like in the first episode that we recorded. But I only recently, despite having, been on my own as a full-time writer since 2017, I feel like I only just now started taking my writing seriously. So I get up early and I feed the cats. I make coffee. I sit down in my chair with my coffee and I start handwriting. And there was a while when I was also doing morning pages in there, like the Julia Cameron exercise, but I kind of stopped doing that. I sit down and I write, and that's it. And I write until lunchtime every day, Monday through Sunday.
I like this
No
ritual.
exceptions.
I think people need more rituals in their
Yes.
life. Because
Yes.
everything is a fucking habit. It takes 6 weeks to form a habit.
Make
Trust me,
Yep.
it's taken Valerie 6 weeks to form this fucking chocolate milk and Slim Jim habit. None of this is healthy whatsoever. I'll be like, what are you eating? She's like, stuffed Oreo pudding thing and Doritos. I'm like, are you a fucking teenager? What is wrong with you?
If it makes the words come though, like if it makes the words flow.
I write 250 to 300,000 plus words each year on top of
That's so much.
everything that we're doing. Like the year that we did roughly 100 books our first year, I also, with my day job, helped restructure an entire department that I took over and took them from 700 books per year to 2,000 with a team of 5 typesetters. So like I am an efficient monster.
That's
and
a lot.
And it's fueled by Doritos.
And that's the Slim Jims. Okay. Gonna snap in.
And some chili
Public
cheese
service
dogs on occasion.
announcement. I really need to say that under no circumstances should anybody listening to this show run out and buy fucking chocolate milk and Slim Jims.
No.
Unless you want to.
All a healthy idea because
No.
it's a terrible plan, and she doesn't smoke or eat edibles, so which would excuse a lot of this fucking behavior.
I know that's what I was going to say. I think the poor like Wawa attendant thinks I get the munchies at 1 a.m, but what it is me refueling for writing stuff.
The writing.
But this is where shameless promotion. They're like, oh, got the munchies. I said, no, I'm a writer, and I slide my card over. I'm like, read my books.
Telling you, self-promotion is key. Okay, Sarah, I'm going to ask you a final question, and then we get to do shameless self-promotion.
Okay.
What is your favorite weird food combination?
Oh my gosh, my favorite weird food combination. Oh, this is going to be really gross.
It doesn't
Well,
matter.
okay. I have to contextualize this. I am a person who lives in the United States. It is probably not gross to anyone else. Okay. I want to say
It
that.
doesn't matter. Somebody said boiled fish eyes. So no matter what you
Oh,
say,
it's not. No.
Yeah.
This is actually going to seem really tame and boring now because you've said boiled fish
sorry,
eyes.
I
No, that's fine. I like French fries and mayonnaise.
I love fucking French fries and mayonnaise.
Okay, good. I always feel a little weird about it.
I don't know
Okay.
what's happening, but twinsies.
There's some, you know what's happening here? It's magic is what's
It is
happening.
magic.
Your
Sarah, it's
sisters and
magic.
you don't know it.
I'm telling you, I had a European friend tell me about mayonnaise on French fries, and I was like done. And so every time I'm in a restaurant, I order a burger. I'm like, can I get a side of mayonnaise? And my favorite is when the waiters go like that.
Yes. It's and that's why I feel like it's weird.
Dude, I'm gonna give you a tip. Stop fucking judging me.
Yes,
And
And
the
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 thing that
judgment.
drives me crazy is when my husband puts mayonnaise on his hot dogs, and I'm like, I don't know why that just.
See, I
makes
grew
it
up doing
weird
that.
to
I don't
me.
know. Where did he
I
grow
don't
up?
know. But it is a sandwich. It's bologna. I hate mayo on bologna sandwich, but for some reason, bologna on a hot dog, I'm like, like I don't know. My brain
Mhm.
breaks.
I grew up. If he grew up in Cleveland, I get it.
No, he didn't.
Okay.
He grew up in
No, he grew
Florida.
up in Florida. We're not going to get started on
Okay.
those
Okay.
kinds of weird food things. We don't have the time for that. Okay, shameless self-promotion time.
Wonderful. Hi friends, you can find me over at sarahwerner.com. That's SARAHWERNER.com. And there you can find links to my 2 podcasts. The first one is a nonfiction show for writers called Right Now, and that's WRITE because puns. And you can find that also out at Apple Podcasts, Spotify, etc. My second show is a fictional audio drama, and I think you'll like it. It's called Girl in Space. It's about a girl in space, and you can also find that on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcatcher. I am working on season 2, so yes, there is more. No, the story has not stopped. Please stop emailing me. You can also
stop emailing you. I appreciate you trying. Go ahead.
You can also find me on social media at Sarah Ray Werner. That's SARAHRHEAWERNER. And that is on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And I would love to connect with you.
You have been so fabulous to have.
Well,
on.
you have been fabulous. I have loved this. This is,
I feel like we're twinsies.
I love this. Please keep in touch. Let's be friends forever. And let's do this again.
We should,
Yes.
because Sarah is also working on a cozy horror book, which we're going to get that series out of her, even though she's not announcing it yet, but it's going to come soon. So that's going to happen. Do you see how I just did that, Val?
I like that.
Yeah,
That's good.
yeah, look at there. It's public record now.
That's real good. I approve. That's real good.
Yeah. Okay, so this has been Drinking with Authors. I've been your host, Erica Lance. My co-host has been the always interrupting, no matter how hard I try.
Interrupting Cal.
Yes. And our sponsor today has been, oh my God, I almost just said it. Yeah.
Come on, get it out, Erica. I know that bourbon stick, man. That bourbon's got you.
Skunk changes into a very different word that is not appropriate, except for sometimes when it is. Okay. And our guest has been Sarah Ray Werner. And we will see you guys next time if we can survive this exit. Okay. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.